So I was watching your discussions with you. So I've been watching them for the last few weeks, like bits of different stuff.
Hmm.
A conversation with this guy. I don't know if I should say his name. Both his first name and last name begin with J. You had
Hmm.
a conversation with him on Atheist Republic and on Secular Jihadists. I feel like that guy is like he's really smart with how he phrases his views. He phrases them in a way that it sounds very progressive and like very very progressive and all that. But then he does this bait and switch where he brings in some Hindu nationalists behind every sorry, Hindu nationalist statement behind whatever he's saying. Because I don't have examples in mind right now, but there were times when you're having a conversation with him and he makes you look like you're like the bigot while he's saying some pretty bigoted statements, but he just kind of phrased in a nice way, if that makes sense.
You don't remember any examples?
Sorry, I've been doing an assignment all day.
Oh, don't worry. Okay, but I can't respond to it if you don't remember it. So just yeah.
There was another guy, like he seemed like a nice guy. I don't know his name, but I think he was like a Hindu guy. He was talking about Sanatanizing religions.
Yeah, that
I
guy was.
remember, yeah, but at the end, I felt like what he does is that he's trying to, because he knows you're very secular, so he tries to phrase his views in a like, oh yeah, I'm pro-secularism, but at the end, he ended that discussion by talking about how he wants to sanatanize other religions that aren't his, and I was like, wait, you just wait, where does that come from? Like,
Right.
it felt very familiar because growing up, people would do that a lot. Like they'd be like, "Yeah, we gotta love your neighbor and all that stuff." And then they're like, "Those Muslims, like, those black people, those like, And you're like, where does that like? You see, there's this cognitive dissonance of like we're good people, and then you just bring in that bigotry right behind it.
Right. I mean, it's interesting because we are technically doing the same thing with our ideas, right? Because sanitize. How do you say it again?
That was the first time I heard that name, so I might be saying it wrong. I think he said sanatanized something.
No,
religion.
that's like making it more a more. I don't know what the word is. Somebody can say it maybe in the live chat, but that's making it more like Hinduism. Basically, that's what it is. Like making it compatible with Hinduism, right? It's kind of like, but maybe people say assimilate to Hindu culture. That's what it is, right? Just like what Israel, it's very similar to what's happening in Israel when they're trying to make Israel like a Jewish state. They're like, you know what? People are like, isn't that a bit racist? Like, no, because they're trying to make Judaism like this is the right wing people, making it Judaism to not just be a religious thing or a cultural thing or an ethnic thing, but also a nationality. And by doing that, and in a way to avoid making it seem like there's going to be a two-tier system or there any racism involved, what they're saying is that anybody could assimilate and be more Jew-like, right? And they're like, you could be an Arab and in Israel, and as long as you assimilate, you could be Jewish at heart or something. Like, I'm like, what are you guys saying? All right. So basically they want people to ask, I mean, for us, that sounds pretty bad, because it is. But if you look at what we're doing, like the people who believe in Enlightenment values, we are technically saying, you could be a Muslim or a Christian or a Jew or a Hindu, but as long as you don't live by Islamic values, and as long as you understand that as long as you don't live by Islamic values or Christian values, as long as you don't want to, as long as you accept that we have freedom of speech, that we accept homosexuality, we accept trans people, men and women should have equal rights, then you have the freedom to believe. As long as you don't practice those beliefs, you should be able to exist with us, right? So we technically are asking them to also assimilate, but we are right because our values are superior. Like I think, but technically we're doing the same thing. We're telling Muslims like, hey, you get to be Muslim, you get to believe in Allah and the Quran and Muhammad, but the values that we have here is that men and women are equal, and gay people are free to be gay, and secularism rules the land. And as long as you abide by these rules, you could believe whatever you want in your own private corner. Aren't we doing the same thing? What do you think?
Do you think we are, just to be sure I understand, do you think we are doing like a special pleading fallacy or like a double standard?
No, we're doing the opposite.
Because, sorry.
No, I'm calling us out on it. So, like, I'm doing the opposite of it. Like, I'm being transparent. I'm saying it's okay. I'm saying we have the same standard. No, we're not doing double standard. I'm saying we have the same standard, but we're okay because our values are superior. Oh, you're saying special pleading? Okay, it's not double standard, but it is special pleading. But it is special pleading, but it's not a fallacy because it is special. Special pleading is a fallacy if you are making the wrong claim that this is a special situation. It's not a fallacy if it's actually special. Our values are better than Islam.
But our values, so you and I mean, we have a lot in common, but let's assume we didn't know each other. So the only thing we have in common is a lack of belief in God, or in my case, like a belief that there is no God, or like whatever. So what values is there in just atheism?
I wasn't talking about atheism as a value. Atheism is not a value. I was talking about the values that we defend, which is enlightenment values. Atheism is just a lack of belief in God. It doesn't come up with a value system. The value system that we here at Atheist Republic believe in is the enlightenment values. And there's a list of them.
Yeah, I got, based on your recommendation, I got the book by Steven Pinker, Enlightenment.
Oh, yeah.
It's 700 pages long, and I have like so much reading to do for school. I'm waiting to be done so I can read it.
It's really good. Yes.
Yeah. To answer I don't think we're making a special pleading, because I feel like if to be a special pleading fallacy, it would maybe not fallacy, but to be a special pleading, we would have to be bringing them to atheism, which isn't what we're doing. We're just like stating that, because it's like a difference between a normative claim and a descriptive claim. Like, we are saying that we're not really like, I think they are making a claim that's descriptive about reality, while we're making a claim about what's normative when it comes to values. If that makes sense.
Well, okay, so special pleading is not like a formal fallacy. Like, it doesn't mean that just like there are some fallacies that every time you do them it's wrong no matter what, right? But there's some other logical fallacies that when it's there are sometimes that you might be doing it, but it doesn't make your argument wrong, right? For example, like slippery slope. You say sometimes like, oh, if this happens, then this is going to happen. And a lot of times like, oh, that's a slippery slope fallacy, because if this happened, that doesn't happen. If A happens, B doesn't necessarily happen. But there are situations where if A happens, B does necessarily follow, right? If A happens, B doesn't. So if I say, dude, don't do A, if you do A, B will happen. You're like, slippery slope. Or like, but what? No, but in this situation, B does actually follow A. So you can't just say slippery slope, right? So, and again, so for example, special pleading, it could be like, I don't know, like, you shouldn't, I don't know, you shouldn't punch people in the face. Like, and then somebody comes at me and I'm defending myself and I punch them in the face. I'm like, this was different. I like special pleading. Like, no, I was defending myself. Special pleading. Like, no, but this is actually different. Okay. So it is like, there are, so again, if people, that's why we have the fallacy, right? When you think like, the fallacy is that you think an argument is wrong just because it has the format as one of the logical fallacies. That it doesn't. If you can find one of the logical fallacies, that doesn't necessarily mean the argument is wrong. If you think that you find a logical fallacy, that means the argument is wrong. Then now you're committing the fallacy. And also subscribe to our newsletter, because if we get removed from all these platforms, at least we could reach out to you. And guys, by the way, if you subscribe to our newsletter, you get a free copy of Why There's No. Where's your copy, Susanna? Get it. We're doing promotion. You get a free. It's not even promotion. It's free. Okay, so if you subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description, you get a free copy of Why There's No God. Come on, like I'm handing it out for free. Okay, it's a bestseller on Amazon, and you get it for free. So subscribe to our newsletter, and you get a free copy of Why There's No God sent to you. Link in the description.